Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing great, as I always say. And in this video, we got a story from Virginia, one from Utah, one from Appalachia, one from Colorado. So we got a little lineup here. And oh hey, my cat just came in the room. Anyways, if all that sounds like something you enjoy, your cup of tea, then definitely pull up a stump with me and everybody else, and let's jump into it. Thank you for watching. So this is an old Dutch family story. It literally goes back to the middle of the 19th century. My ancestors came from a small village. One of the farmers had this weird boy. The boy would walk weird, flap his hands, kill small animals, yell loudly, and sometimes grab at girls. After getting a few beatings and warnings, the boy was kept on his father's farm, not even being allowed to enter the church. One day, the boy does enter the church, sobbing and confused, asking to talk to the priest. The priest and several of the local men approach the boy because he is not welcome in the church. He begs the priest to allow him to stay in the church. The priest asks him why. The boy is crying and being hysterical, says he accidentally summoned the devil and that the devil will drown him. The men in the village are hesitant and want to put the boy in a mental asylum outside the city. The boy agrees, but begs them to allow him to sleep in the church this night because the devil will try and drown him. The priest agrees, and a carpenter goes to the city to get someone from the asylum. The boy calms down, gets a small bed, and the priest promises that he will be sleeping nearby and that he can call him anytime he needs to. 3 times the boy wakes up the priest because he sees the devil waiting outside the church. 3 times the priest and the boy pray together and read from the Bible. At the end of the evening it starts to rain and small puddles form. It's almost daybreak. The priest is up already to check on the boy. The boy looks outside and says, "I did it. I won from the devil." Happy and confident, the boy says he's going to look as the sun rises. The priest goes inside to get something to eat for himself and the boy. When he walks outside to give the boy some bread and cheese, he finds his dead body. He was drowned in one of the puddles that formed the night before. So at the time this happened, I was working the graveyard shift at a hotel as a bellman. The shift was the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. one, and it was a usual midweek night at a 116-room hotel. And at the time of this, we were about 1/3 full. So there's nothing really to do from 2:30 to 5:30, so I was playing cards with the front desk agent. Now I should also describe the lobby shape. So it's a straight shot in. The front door goes into the lobby. In the back right is the front desk with the elevators. There's 3 of them, just across from the desk with stairs in between. The elevators all wait in the lobby when not in use with the doors open. So 3:30 in the morning comes along and an elevator goes up to a floor and then comes down again. This beautiful 9 out of 10 blonde gets off and she's wearing a bathrobe. She smiles at me and the agent. She proceeds down the stairs to the fitness center. She walks by me really close and she's wearing this really amazing perfume. So half an hour passes. The elevator that can go downstairs hasn't moved. I decide to go see if the girl needs anything. There's no lights on. I fumbled around for the switch while calling out to the lady. I click the switch, and only 1 light out of 40 turns on, and I think, oh, this is creepy. Also, there's no girl anywhere. The stairs are the only way down there, and the elevator hasn't moved. I run back upstairs, and I ask the agent if he saw her. He says he hasn't, and the elevator hasn't moved either. He checks the elevator log file, and it hasn't moved since 11:52. So I run back downstairs. All the lights are now on, and the whole room smells of that fragrance that the lady had, and there's still no lady. So I turn around and I note my way back upstairs, and I freak out with the desk agent until 7 a.m. It's not very exciting, but it was some of the weirdest stuff that ever happened, to me anyways, and I never did figure out what exactly went on that night. So this happened a long time ago. I was hanging around with this girl at night. I'm antisocial and I'm an idiot because I ruined my life with drugs, so now I'm only out during the night like a weirdo. And either I was 19 and she was 17, or she was 19 and I was 17. I don't remember. It was, again, a long time ago. She sometimes tells me that her house is haunted. She hears footsteps on the stairs. There's a story about finding a knife stabbed in her bed. And I think, yeah, whatever. I don't really believe her when she tells me this. But one day we're walking around this really not so good town that we live in, and she says that she better go home. So I decide that I'll walk with her and I'll walk her home. So I'm saying goodbye to her. I look up and I see a silhouette of somebody looking out her bedroom window, watching us. I know her parents often wait for her, and I say, "Looks like someone's waiting for you." She looks terrified. I look over at the driveway, and there's nobody there. The cars are gone. Her parents have left. Everyone is out for the night. It's just her. So, what did you think of those stories? Let me know which one was your favorite one down in the comments. Do you have your own story? If so, I have an email that you can send it to that's in the description below. And if you want to support the channel, I have the super thanks button there. I think it's still there. I have a Patreon and I have a PayPal where you can send donations. And yeah, with that, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for pulling up a stump, and thank you for watching. So I stayed in one of those, quote, haunted hotels when I was in Virginia. It was several years back, and I can't remember the name of the place or even the name of the city, but I know that it was in Loudoun County. So I was working all day. I get off late. My coworker invites me out for a beer. I'm too tired, but tell him that I'll take a rain check. The company that we work for has us sharing a room anyways. And I tell him don't worry about waking me up when he gets back. I'm a very heavy sleeper. But then, I do wake up. I hear him close the door and shuffle around. He sounds drunk. I'm pretending to be asleep. My eyes are closed and I'm facing the opposite wall. He sits down at the edge of my bed, and it smells like, I don't know, there was something on him or something, because it smelled awful. And I wake up and say, okay, that's enough. And I just say, you're in the wrong bed. And he doesn't say anything. I just hear this ragged breathing. I figure he fell asleep sitting up, so I kick at him gently. There's nothing there. And I think, what the hell? And I flip over and set up. There's nobody in the room. There's no more breathing, but that sour stench still remains. It's still lingering in the room. At that moment, I hear footsteps outside and the beep of the card key. My coworker comes in and says, "Damn, dude, what did you eat?" I tell him what happened, and he goes quiet. He says something similar happened to him the night before. He woke up and felt someone sit down on his bed, breathing really raggedly. He fell back asleep though, and thought it was all a dream. Nothing else like that happened while we were there, but we both tried to avoid being in there alone at night after that. So this one time, I was camping deep in the woods in the Appalachia region with my dad. I was unarmed aside from a machete and a hatchet, plus various other camping knives that we had with us. We were in a small clearing with an A-frame tent and a small fire going. We hear the usual sounds of nightlife around us, coyotes howling in the distance, mountain lions prowling around. We have our packs strung up high in a tree. My dad and I are just talking, and about random stuff and just gazing into the fire, up at the sky and everything. A few minutes go by when I finally notice, wait a minute, where did the noises go? He says that he noticed it went dead quiet a few minutes ago. Not 3 seconds after, we both hear the loudest effing roar I have ever heard in my entire life. We both literally almost crapped our pants right there and begin shining flashlights in all directions and checking the clearing that we're in and its edges. We decide that making the fire larger and just keep holding up in the tent is the best idea. I slept with the machete. The next morning, we check along the perimeter of the clearing. We find this bramble thicket. There's huge ass southern thorns that are like 3 inches long, and all through there's a 5-foot swath, and all the brambles are pushed out of the way and trampled. We decided that it was definitely not a very good idea to remain in that area, so we packed everything up and we hiked away about 15 miles and set up camp there. There was much less nightlife traffic, but that roar still gets me. I still remember it so vividly. So I've never told anyone this story because I realized how dumb I was after it happened, and I was embarrassed. Again, it's a pretty real AF story. It's something that happened to me in 2009. It was right around the time of the earthquake in Chile. I was staying with my friend in Colorado. I was working there for the summer. I was 18 years old, and again, I was really stupid, full of testosterone. I was lifting heavy weights, and I was thinking that I was completely invincible. I'm spending the summer in Colorado, like I mentioned. I have a 4-wheel drive V8 lifted truck, so I decide to go drive up a random dirt road on a mountain. I'm not considering that I may have been on a driveway or on private property. As I said, I was really stupid, and I just wanted to go do some off-roading. I'm in a great mood. I'm jamming to some heavy metal and checking out a gorgeous sunset. I'm driving back into the forest, up a mountain. This trail had some river crossings, so a 4-wheel drive is engaged, obviously. I commence my off-roading shenanigans. I drive up some switchbacks in the sticks. I'm probably 4 or 5 miles off the main road, maybe more. I have no cell service now. And then suddenly I see this old broken down car on the side of the trail. It looks like it's been parted out and has been sitting there for about a decade. I'm talking like no hood, no wheels, etc. Now this sticks out to me because parted up cars aren't usually out here in the beautiful forest and mountains, and the people in those areas often abide by leave no trace. It wasn't far from Aspen, maybe 30 minutes. So I think, that's weird, and I keep going when there's another car in the same state, then another, and then another. It's starting to look like a trailer trash area. I'm starting to really get confused about where the hell I am. I should mention that some of these weren't off-road capable vehicles. I don't know how they would have got across the rivers and got there, but I didn't think of that at the time. Eventually, I hit the end of the road when there's a cabin, and if you wanted a very accurate representation of what the cabin looked like, picture the scene in the original 1981 Evil Dead when the car pulls up to the cabin, and that's pretty much what it was. My spook levels are at 500 right now. It's just a really off-putting, creepy aura from this thing. I don't do any shenanigans. I don't approach. I just quickly turn around and go back. I'm not totally brain dead back then. The sun is setting, and I'm headed back down the switchbacks past all the screwed up cars. I'm still feeling really uneasy. I slowed down because in the bend of a switchback, when I glance up through the window of one of those cars, there's a bald guy in the passenger seat just looking forward, motionless. I notice dark stains all over the place and smeared on the window, possibly dried blood. I stop and look to make sure that I'm not losing my mind, I have no drugs or booze in my system at this time. The window is fogged up from age, but there's definitely a bald guy that looks dead but not decayed, though I could not see well. Even if he was alive, why was he sitting in a screwed up car in the middle of the wilderness just looking forward, motionless? He was almost certainly dead, and bald. Anyways, it finally hits me. My spook levels surge to a maximum. I drive out to the main road faster than Usain Bolt can run. The river crossing I took at 30 miles per hour. I just didn't give a crap at this point. I needed to get out of there. I wasn't looking at the other broken down cars. But when I get cell service, I call the cops. I don't care if I get caught with a trespassing charge or something else. The police say they'll check it out. But I never hear back from them. What the hell did I stumble upon? Now that I think about it, this totally gives me like one of those elite dumping site vibes, and it was so close to Aspen, so I don't know. I'd like to think they would have had security at one of those places though. Maybe it was like a secret serial killer. I have no idea, but it still bothers me and freaked me out to no end. I didn't do any more off-roading after that. And as my note, when I read this story, my thought was sometimes people can be a lot scarier than anything supernatural. This happened to my scout leader. He was about 27 years old and was trying to find himself, his religion, etc. He decides to go to the Ute tribe, since, hell, the natives are well known for their spirit quests, and he already has a friend from the tribe who can help him. It should be said that this is set sometime in the late 70s. He was an avid outdoorsman, and he loved to be deep in the woods. He's that kind of guy. So he also brings along his 1903 Springfield 30-06 and a .38 revolver. He keeps his 1903 Springfield in the truck, but gotta keep that thing on you, so he stows the .38 revolver in his pants. He meets up with the local tribe and he gets introduced through his friend. He gets to know a couple people, the head tribesman and the medicine men who will conduct the rituals and help with spirit quests. After a while of getting to know them, he asks to join them for a sweat lodge peyote session. Since he's gotten in cool with them, they agree. He has to drive out and follow the tribe to some religious sacred ground where they have set up a sweat lodge in the area. As stated before, he keeps the rifle in the car but brings the revolver and goes. As per custom, he removes his shirt, his shoes, but keeps on his pants. They begin the ritual, and everything is going okay. The head tribesman there begins chanting and telling native stories and legends of the tribe. My scout leader starts hallucinating to the stories, but is staying semi-coherent. After a while, a howl breaks the air, and the head tribesman grows quiet. The men listen in, and they hear large steps approaching the tent. Soon, there's vicious snarling and growling that can be heard. The head tribesman starts praying loudly in their tongue and starts encouraging the others to do the same. Another howl is heard, this time behind the scout leader. He quickly produces the .38 and snaps around to shoot the creature. A howl of pain is heard before a large paw slashes open the tent. Shortly after, movement can be heard of the creature running away from the tent. The scout leader sees a large, patchy-haired creature with a small bloody gash in its side from the bullet. Now the head tribesman is urging everyone to move toward the vehicles they came in. The scoutmaster rushes to his truck and retrieves the rifle. He turns quickly to see the rest of the tribesmen also producing firearms from their cars. They all start running after the weird Dogman creature, popping off random shots toward it. The Dogman is now rushing towards a wooded creek bed. My scoutmaster wants to try to place at least one good shot in. He steadies himself and levels the rifle, center of mass at the Dogman, as he pulls the trigger as calm as he can. They all hear another howl of pain as it makes it into the woods. The group decide to keep booking it towards the creature and eventually make it to the wooded creek bed. Upon reaching the creek bed, they notice that 1. They can no longer hear the loud footsteps, and 2. The tracks end as soon as it hits the creek, and 3. It's almost impossible to see. After reevaluating possibly getting eaten, they decide to stay grouped up and guns at the ready and slowly start moving up and down the creek looking for tracks on either side, and they can't find any. They quickly realized that it couldn't have made it any further down the creek without them being able to see it. Once they got to the creek, they all call off the search and head back to their vehicles. Shortly after, the tribe didn't allow anyone near this part of the reservation. My scoutmaster shot this thing with a .30-06 and it didn't go down. The head tribesman also stated that it couldn't have been a hallucination, as everyone saw it, and the peyote they took is nowhere near powerful enough. So that was the time my scoutmaster encountered a Dogman. Is he common in the Utah area? So, what did you think of those stories? Let me know which one was your favorite one down in the comments. Do you have your own story? If so, I have an email that you can send it to that's in the description below. And if you want to support the channel, I have the super thanks button there. I think it's still there. I have a Patreon and I have a PayPal where you can send donations. And yeah, with that, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for pulling up a stump, and thank you for watching.